So I've been around with the Sonic franchise for basically as long as I can remember. Ever since I've been a child, I've been, let's just say, obsessed about this franchise and everything it's brought to the table. And I've been through it for basically most of its periods. And one of those weird things about the franchise I noticed is it's kind of been split up into a lot of different eras, where you have the original classic era when the series first got its initial boom and popularity just went whoop, straight up through the roof. Then there was a little bit of a lull period, which is something not a lot of people actually tend to talk about, which is around that brief time period between the Mega Drive and Dreamcast. Like during the Sega Saturn era, Sonic games kind of dipped. They weren't available as often. They kind of fell off a little bit. There were still a couple of handful of games, but there was no mainline games during this period. So then Dreamcast happened, modern Sonic was born, and boom, exploded right away. And rightfully so, because Sonic Adventure on the Dreamcast, oh, banger of a game. Same with its sequel, Sonic Adventure 2. Oh, beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. But this secondary boom of the franchise kind of, I want to say, continued up until 2004 when Sonic Heroes was a thing. And then 2005 is when we started seeing a little bit of like troubles brewing with Shadow the Hedgehog, which, to tell you the truth, is a game that I actually don't think is that bad. It has its problems, but I don't think it's a bad game, but that's just my opinion on the matter. But the series kind of had its first major change when Sonic 06 occurred. 2006 was one of the worst years for this entire franchise, and we're still feeling ripple effects from that year now. Like, it came out with Sonic the Hedgehog Genesis on the Game Boy Advance, which is one of the most broken games I have ever seen. Then there's Sonic 06, which is also a really, really broken and not great time. It's not something I recommend. And to be honest, then it feels like the franchise has been kind of like trying to pick up the pieces after that, because like when Sonic 06 first released, the whole franchise kind of like, it became cool to shit on the series, essentially. Everyone was doing it, everyone on YouTube. For the longest time, I felt like a crazy person because so many people on YouTube are like, these games are trash, why are you playing these games? And I'm like, to be honest, there's only a couple of them I consider bad games, you know. I'm kind of unique in that regard. But of course then, after 06, Unleashed happened. Unleashed was one of those games where you could tell they had a big thing to try and turn the series around. And you know, I liked Unleashed. Some reviewers did not like it, some for, admittedly, what seemed to be pure bias, like the IGN review back in the day. Like, I remember that was a corker of a review. Like, I'm convinced the guy didn't even probably play the game. But essentially after that then, the series was, like, going through a bit of a rough patch, I should say, which kind of, I want to say continued until like the 2010s when the franchise kind of got its first little renaissance period where Sonic Colors came out and popularity kind of spiked up a little bit, not too much, a little bit, for a tiny brief period of time. And that's when the series kind of went back to basics. You know, there's like all these extra characters, throw them out. All the stories, throw them out. Just make things simple and basic, which personally I wasn't the biggest fan of. Like, I liked it, I liked the gameplay, don't get me wrong, but I liked the stories the series was giving. I liked the characters, which is one of those things that kind of felt a bit sad. It kind of got lost. And then throughout the course of the 2010s, the game's just kind of been this, I want to say, middling quality, where I don't really think any of the games are bad. They've just kind of lost their edge. They lost their charm. And, you know, a lot of people call this the Pontac era, because the Pontac and Graph were writing for these games at the time. But it's, you know, during this time period, that's when I got the most disillusioned about the series. You know, I was like, I've always been a fan. I've always liked the games, even the newer ones at the time. But I was just like, things just seem very meh. Is the best way I can put it. But of course, that kind of all came to a head recently now when, obviously now we got Sonic Cross Shadow Generations and Sonic Frontiers. Basically, since Sonic Forces happened, which I think was kind of like the series hitting a low point, Now, in terms of the gameplay, again, I think the gameplay's fine. It's not a great game, but it's okay. But that was kind of a low point in this sort of like renaissance period. And since then, Sonic Team have been going above and beyond. I don't know what's happened. I don't know what's been put in their coffee. I don't know what's been put in their drinks. But they've been cooking. They've been absolutely cooking. And I've been loving everything since After Forces, you know, because we got Frontiers, which was a janky game. Don't get me wrong, it's janky. But that was such a breath of fresh air. It brought me back to, like, the 2000s. It brought me back to my childhood where these series, they tried to tell a story. Admittedly, not the best stories in the world, but they were good stories. You know, they were fun, entertaining little romps. And it brought me back to that time period where the characters have personalities again. It's not all about haha, just joke, joke, joke. There's an actual intent to tell a story. And I loved that. I loved that completely. And then we had Sonic Dream Team, which was a smaller game. It was more reminiscent of the 2010s in that regard, but even then, the writing of that game was really good, and in general, you can tell, playing Sonic Dream Team, there's a lot of passion behind that game. It's really, really fun. And of course, now we have Sonic Cross Shadow Generations, which has blown everything out of the water. You know, the only complaint that I've had about that game so far, and this is literally the only complaint, I wish it was shorter. That's it. Not shorter, longer, sorry, I said that backwards. Yeah, I wish it was longer. That's the only complaint I have for the game. Everything else about it is, oh, perfect. And this is the first time in many, 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 many years where I've looked towards the future of the franchise. And it hasn't been sheer, like, I hope it's good. I've been genuinely, like, looking forward to the franchise's future. Because during the 2010s, pre-2010s and all that, you know, I was looking forward to the games. But I was always cautiously optimistic. I was like, okay, this looks okay. I'm hoping it turns out good. And when they came out, I'm usually like, it's alright. But since Frontiers happened, and since I've played Sonic Cross Shadow Generations, this is the first time where I'm like, I'm really excited. I'm excited for this franchise. I'm excited to see where it goes from here. Because there are so many different routes the Sonic team can take it now. And if they keep up the level of quality they've had for the last 3 games, I notice a lot of these errors seem to work in threes when it comes to the mainline title. So I'm hoping this sticks up. You know, I'm hoping the quality levels stick with the next game, because if it does, this franchise is in a good spot. And it's one of the best things as well, because like during the 2010s, being a Sonic fan on the internet was a pain, an absolute nightmare. A pain in the ass, because everywhere you went, it's like, oh, this franchise is awful, this is trash, how you like Sonic, what's wrong with you? And it was a very weird time, because growing up back in the day, it was cool. Sonic was cool, like, when I grew up, and then, for this brief period of time then, it just became really uncool, and now it seems like it's gone back to being cool again, and I'm so happy. I'm so happy. It's a bit of a ramble, this video, but honestly, it's just me gushing about the state of the series. The series is in the best spot I've seen it for years, and I want to see this continue. I want to see the franchise grow. I want to see Sonic be amazing. And that's basically all I really wanted to say. Like, again, it's it is my favorite game franchise. Straight up, Sonic the Hedgehog is. It is my game franchise that I love. I wouldn't be me without this series. And I am looking forward to seeing the future. Like, I'm just genuinely stoked. I'm excited. But, yeah, that's all there really is to this video. I'm excited for the future of the series. Let me know in the comments if you guys feel the same, if there's anything you guys would like to add to the discussion. And, yeah. Sonic might be back, baby! I can't wait. I can't wait. So yeah, thank you all for watching, folks, and I shall hopefully see you all next time.